Engine was still running, the SUV still in drive when firefighters found anchor Mike McCormick and photojournalist Aaron Smeltzer. A tree had fallen on the vehicle as they were driving. Tonight, our thoughts with the WYFF family through their loss. These two were covering the storm that ultimately cost them their lives. McCormick had been with the station for 11 years, Smeltzer for 4 months. These two men were doing what journalists all over the country do each day. They were going toward the story with the intention of gathering information to share with the public. In this case, to keep others safe. We've read some comments questioning whether a TV crew should be out in the storm, implying it was about getting a sensational stand-up. North Carolina's governor said this was about two journalists working to inform the public. I've always held on to the notion that journalism is really a public service job, to hold the powerful accountable, uncover injustices, and when there is a threat of a natural disaster or storm, to be out there getting the latest information so others can avoid dangers. We go through some training to be educated about safety in hurricanes, fires, tornadoes, and so forth. Our management has always told us if we ever feel unsafe, we should leave that area. Do newsrooms always make the right choice about a live report in a hurricane, or high winds, or in chasing a tornado? No. Do we always talk through it? Really consider if it's necessary to show the public the severity of a threat? Yes. Those two men were, like so many others that night, just driving through the rain. They were not being daredevils, sensational, or irresponsible. Even the fire chief called this a freak accident. He'd done an interview with this team 10 minutes before that tree fell on their SUV.
We had talked a little bit about how he wanted us to stay safe and how we wanted him to stay safe. 10, 15 minutes later, we get the call, and it was him and his photographer.
Our hearts are with their families, their friends, and all of their coworkers.